So I want to welcome Harry Shelswell, who is a holistic life coach, public speaker, and wellbeing practitioner who offers an array of services worldwide, including life coaching, leadership training, Qigong and meditation classes, retreats, and workplace wellness workshops. His work predominantly focuses on helping people navigate life's challenges, while simultaneously helping people to live more conscious and balanced lives. So thank you so much for joining us here today, Harry, and I will hand over to you to start your presentation.
So welcome to today's workshop, guys, and thank you so much for showing up. Just to extend a little bit about who I am, my name's Harry Shelswell. I own a company called Happy Souls Coaching. As Morven explained recently, I do life coaching, public speaking, workplace wellness, leadership training. Based in Bournemouth at the moment, but I also work online as well. So if anyone does feel like they need a life coach in the future, feel free to reach out to me as well. Now, today's session is going to be touching base on a few different things around mindfulness and acceptance and gaining it more in a strength when dealing with these challenging situations. And I understand that some of you are likely going through something right now that's potentially unexpected and you didn't plan for, and you're kind of navigating it, as it's kind of unfolding. And I've been there as well, just to kind of let you understand. And, I've been through these situations where unexpected challenges spring up out of nowhere. And I'll just quickly speak a little bit about that so you can understand how I can relate to what you're potentially going through. And I was a very fit and healthy man, and I was very active in sport and building houses and doing all sorts of stuff many years ago. And I developed two very chronic injuries to both of my wrists, which stopped me dead in my tracks. And basically a lot of challenging situations unfolded from that, with stress-related illnesses, and I went blind in one eye because of the treatment. And it was just this knock-on effect of unpredictable, very severe challenges. But on the other end of it, I developed all of these amazing skills, which has allowed me to become who I am today, because I worked through it in the most effective way possible with what I'm about to pass on to you today. I also had the great pleasure of traveling the world for 10 years, and I lived in Asia and New Zealand for 10 years, and I lived with monks, and I learned from the Wat Phra Dhammakaya, which is a Thai Buddhist organization, about all sorts of things to do with mindset, mindfulness, meditation, and acceptance, and compassion and forgiveness. And they really helped me navigate that challenging section of my life as well. And that's what I'm going to pass on to you today, which was about that changing of perspectives, working with our challenges and not against them, and all of the other things that we can do to actually utilize these situations. And it can be very challenging when we're thrown a situation that we didn't plan, we could have never have planned for anyway. And it's up to us to somehow accept it, understand it, work with it. And when we work with things, it just becomes a lot easier to navigate through them, but also the lessons contained within those situations are learned much easier, and we can actually develop strengths. And that's what we're going to go into now. So what we're going to touch base on to start off with is the power of acceptance. There's a beautiful picture there of a Buddhist monk enjoying the rain, which is a beautiful representation of the power of acceptance. Most people usually try and run away from the rain, and he's there enjoying it, okay? And this is what these guys kind of taught me, was about, we've got this situation we're experiencing. If we try and repress it and deny it and remold it into our ideal shape, we create resistance. And that resistance that we experience is what we call suffering. Now, there's this great master that I learned from called Papaji, and he said something one day that completely changed my life. And what he said was, we don't experience suffering, we suffer our experiences. And it was very profound when I heard that. We don't experience suffering, we suffer our experiences. When we repress, we deny, we try and remold whatever it is we're experiencing, that resistance is what we call suffering. And on the other side of that, when we become the experiencer of our reality, okay, rather than the sufferer of it, we grow much wiser, we grow stronger, we grow more understanding, more compassion. Now, what I understood through my situation, healthy, fit, successful man at the time, suddenly had both my wrists taken away from me, lost a lot of weight, lost all my muscle, lost a lot of money. Okay, what I understood in that moment was, when you kind of water the seeds of pain and challenges with acceptance and understanding, what grows out of that seed is wisdom and strength and compassion and love, and you actually grow much more powerful as a person and much more loving as a person. So wisdom and strength and compassion is kind of like the end result of a wise person's pain. When you repress it and deny it and try and remold it into your ideal shape, then what grows out of that seed is bitterness and resentment, okay, and anger, and more pain and more suffering. So when you meet people that are very angry and bitter and spiteful, they're just suffering very deeply, and they haven't understood how to actually navigate their suffering. Okay, so it allows you as well to have compassion for those people, to see beyond the surface level emotion that you're experiencing when meeting those people. Okay, and that's what else it done for me as well. Now when I meet people who are angry and bitter and spiteful, what I actually see is somebody who's dealing with a lot of pain, which allows me to be much more compassionate towards them. Now, this is the power of acceptance. So what we also learned was a philosophy of Lao Tzu. Now, Lao Tzu is a Chinese philosopher who produced something called the Tao, the art of the Tao, the effortless way of living, which also aligns with the power of acceptance. And it's about learning how to move with things, not against them, how everything that we're experiencing in life, it plays a purpose, has a purpose, and it's a vital role in our journey through life. And this is their philosophy, whether we understand it or not. Now, when I was going through my situation, I was driving down the road, suddenly I went blind in one eye, all of this stuff happened, and I shifted my mindset of how actually grateful I was that I'd lasted this long with two wrists, two eyes, a car, you know, and I actually really started diving into it much more deeply, and it made me very grateful in a very dark stage of my life, because I had that mindset shift. But it also allowed me to understand that one day I'm probably going to look back at this, you know, horrendous situation I wouldn't wish upon anyone, and actually be grateful for it. And I know that might be very, very hard for you to understand right now, but on the other end of what I went through, I kind of look back now and I think, well, actually it helped me, you know, in a way. It helped me go down a different path, a better path. I am here doing what I'm doing now because of that situation, you know, so there's always a blessing in the curse. And I kind of, the way I saw it was that pain was like the wall that the universe had put up to kind of stop me and steer me in a better direction. Maybe not physically, but in here and in here, because I let it, okay? Now, the power of Lao Tzu's philosophy is moving with the flow of life. Now, when we try to fight against the flow of life, everything is difficult. Life's trying to push us one way, like the river is trying to push this guy one way, and he's trying to fight against it. So that's showing you the resistance that maybe you're experiencing in your life in this situation as well. Life's pushing us back or to the side or left or right, and we're trying to fight against it, and everything becomes difficult. However, when we move with the flow of life, everything becomes easier. We understand what way life is moving, and we understand that we have to move with it. Now, a really good way for you to understand where you have power and don't is asking yourself this question: what do you have control over? You can write a list of all of the things that you can change and all of the things that you can't. This will help you understand what you have the power to change and what you have to learn to accept. This reflection helps us free up our energy, relieve suffering, and create a better life for ourselves moving forward. So you can ask yourself that question, you know, what do you have control over? And what don't you have control over? When you write this down, and you can do this later or even now, and you can write a list of the things that you can brainstorm, all of the things that you do have control over, like your daily routines, your mindset, maybe changing what you're eating, changing what you're watching on TV, maybe you can get out more often, maybe you can't get out more often. Then you can understand what you don't have control over. Now, when you look at that list of the things that you don't have control over, that's where you start implementing the power of acceptance. You need to accept those things, as difficult as it can be. You know, I was racing motorbikes, diving and building houses, and I had a boat, and I had the best life ever. And then suddenly I didn't have two wrists working, right? It was very, very challenging for me to suddenly have that taken away from me. And it wasn't 1 month, it went on for years. Okay, about 2 years of my life, I couldn't even open a jam jar, watching myself deteriorate. But when I understood I don't have control over that, suddenly when I was driving down the road and I just thought, wow, I'm going to experience this rather than suffer it. Okay, rather than be a victim, I'm going to be an experiencer of this reality. Suddenly it was like all of this weight just lifted off my shoulders and my heart, and I suddenly felt so much more free, and I gained a lot more inner peace in that situation. So, and it's very hard for us to do that acceptance, especially when life is not the way we want it to be. Everyone else is out having fun, we can't do it. But write that list. What do you have control over? What don't you have control over? That's going to help you moving forward. The next thing that's really powerful is the power of mindset shifting. Because as I explained, things are rarely the way we think they are, and it's our perspectives that give them meaning. Okay, and I had this realization one day. I was sitting on a train, and this woman opposite me was tapping her feet one day, listening to music, and I was in a really bad mood that day, and it really annoyed me, and I actually got up and I moved down the train because it had annoyed me that much, right? And about 3-4 days later, I got back on that train coming home from work, and I was in a really good mood, and that same woman was sitting on that train opposite me, tapping her feet, listening to music, and it actually brightened me up. I was like bopping my head with her, you know? So the situation hadn't changed, but the way I looked at it did change. And that's that power of the mindset shifting, you know? Is it a good day? Is it a bad day? You actually get to decide that. And changing our perspective just the tiniest little bit can be the difference between you having a good day and a bad day, okay? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, okay? Some people see a really good place where they live. Some people see a really bad place where they live. Some people go down the park and they see screaming children and all of the things that aggravates them. Some people go down the park and they see lots of people loving each other and laughing and having a good day. But it's your mindset, okay, that's going to change that. And this is how I done it. I changed the whys for the whats, and I'm going to explain how this worked for me. Instead of asking why this is happening to you, ask yourself, what can you learn from it? This simple shift in perspective can help you learn valuable lessons, gain valuable wisdom, and turn challenges into strengths, okay? Changing the whys for the whats. Now, going back to what I was saying that I experienced, it's very, very annoying because I kept on going into my mind and saying, why am I experiencing it? Why has this happened to me? But the truth is, you're never going to come up with, you know, a solid answer you're happy with. You're always going to go back into it as a new version of yourself, and you're always going to come out of it with a new answer. And you might be satisfied with that answer for a week, a month, and then your situation maybe might change, and then you're going to go, why is this happening to me again? You go back into it again with a new perspective, you come up with a new answer, a new philosophy. It's a never-ending situation. So I started changing my whys for whats. Not why am I experiencing this, not why is this happening to me, because the truth is I didn't really know, it just happened. But what can I learn from it? This shift in perspective, what can I learn from this? Well, it taught me how to slow down, taught me how to be a lot more compassionate, it taught me how to be a lot more mindful, it taught me how to see all of the great things that I still had in my life. At the time, I still had a house, I still had food, I had very good friends around me, helped me understand the importance of my family, and eventually led me to reconnect with my dad and get to know my dad properly for the first time, right? It's a very beautiful experience. Had I not experienced that situation, life probably wouldn't have slowed me down enough for me to actually reflect and go, wow, actually, I should probably do X, Y, Z. So I changed the whys for the whats. What can I learn from it? And you can do that too, okay? You can sit there and say, not why is this happening to me, but what can I learn from this situation? You're going to come out the other end of this, I promise you now, so much more strong and resilient and compassionate and the wisest versions of yourself as well. Counting your blessings, okay? even if you feel like your life is not going well, you can help you shift your perspectives onto the things that are good. No matter how bad we think things are, there are always things to be grateful for, and always things that could be worse. Counting our blessings daily helps us focus on the things that we are happy to have. It boosts our mood and relieves suffering. So no matter what it is that's going on in your life right now, there is likely a lot of things, if you were to write them down, what you're grateful for. This has now become such a big part of my daily life, and we'll touch base on this soon as well in routines. One thing that I now do every single day without fail, and my cue is when I open my front door, I stop on my front step and I have 5 conscious breaths and I count 5 things I'm grateful for in that moment. And I do this every morning, and I promise you now, since I've been doing this, which is about 4 years now, I've never left my house in a bad mood. I've never got in my car in a bad mood. And if you can't leave your bed, you can do it when you wake up in the morning. I stop, my mind says, no, come on, we've got to rush off. And I have 5 conscious breaths into my belly, which is called the lower dantian in Qigong. And in between each breath, I look around and I think of 5 things I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's my neighbour's flowers have just bloomed in the garden opposite me. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Sometimes it's, wow, the sky's blue today. That's beautiful. Oh my God, my wrists don't hurt today. That's amazing as well, right? By the time I get to the 5th one, I'm like, smiling ear to ear, and I get in my car and I'm having the best day ever. And that's, every single morning. And you can do that as well, just waking up, okay? We go on to the next one, which is obviously the power of routines. You become what you do on a daily basis. By changing our daily and weekly routines, we can change our lives. Changing just one thing, like I just explained, that we do daily can have an unfathomable impact on our lives moving forward. Just changing one thing. Now, if you can't get out of bed, okay, because some of you might not be able to get out of bed, you can still change the way you start your day. You can still implement into your life the practice that I've just talked about. 5 conscious breaths, 5 things you're grateful for before you even get out of bed. You can change what you watch every day, because that's your daily routine, okay? And you're putting that into your mind, you're digesting whatever it is you're watching. You can change the way you speak to yourself, okay? It's your self-talk. You can change the way you speak to other people. You can change 1,000,001 things, even if you can't get out of bed, okay? But if you just change one little thing, eventually over the course of time, your whole life changes with it, okay? Because we are what we do repeatedly on a daily basis or a weekly basis, okay? So you can also sit down and write your current schedule, what it looks like, and start thinking about what you want to add into that schedule and what's feasible. You don't want to make a routine that sounds amazing but isn't realistic to keep up, because then your mind's going to get used to you accepting giving up on things. It's going to be like, oh, that's too difficult. You're better off making a really small adjustment in your routine, so then you and your mind can get used to actually accomplishing them goals. And then you can just little bit by little bit, just add to it. My routine now is very, very strict, okay? It's a very profoundly tight routine, but it's been adjusted slightly along the way. If I tried making that routine at the start, I wouldn't have been able to keep it up, and therefore, and I tried actually, and I failed in a few things. And I remember at the time my mind go, oh well, actually it doesn't really matter anymore, because you gave that one up the other week and that one last month, so it doesn't matter. So you have to train your brain to be disciplined, and the way you do that is just bite-sized little changes. Make a routine that's manageable. Sorry, I should have jumped to this to start off with. If you try to make a routine that is unreasonable, too demanding, or not manageable, you will lose consistency and therefore lose the effectiveness of creating the healthy habit. So it's basically what I've just explained. Try and make your routine manageable, and don't feel bad if it is just the smallest little thing, like I'm going to drink more water every day. That's great. I'm going to not watch the news for 6 hours a day. I'm going to watch it for 1 hour a day, or whatever it is that works for you. For the men that are watching this is just something that I wanted to bring up as well. to help you understand what's currently going on with mental and emotional wellness. It's a little bit off topic to what we've just been going through, but it also taps into your daily routines, and I'll explain why. The UK suicide rates are currently 80%, I think between 75 and 80% men and 20% women. I think this is down to emotional vulnerability, opening up and speaking to people, okay? But this can also be part of your daily routine as well. Try and just have a conversation with someone, even if they're, they're your friend or your family, and just express what it is you're going through. Because if you are going through something right now that's very challenging, it's very easy for us to keep it to ourselves and think, there's nobody on this planet that must be going through the same thing. And that's why it's so great that the team at Lyme Disease have created this platform and community of people to help you understand that there's lots of you going through the same thing. And likely at one stage of you going through what you're going through, you probably thought that you were the only one on the whole universe that was dealing with something similar to this, because that's how I felt. When I went through what I went through, I was sitting there thinking, there is nobody on this planet that must be going through this right now, but there's plenty. And when you open up and start speaking to people, you understand that as well. Also, 94% of the UK inmates in the prisons in England are men. That's just unfathomable, right? 94%. And 68% of addictions are men. Now, as I explained recently, a lot of this is to do with the repression and denial and non-acceptance of situations and not having the actual tools to deal with our pain. Like I said, anger is the end result of an uneducated person's pain. So when I go back to that, 94% of the UK population in the prisons are men. I'm going to say a lot of those crimes were likely them lashing out, something to do with anger, something to do with some kind of pain inside that has led them to commit some kind of crime, okay? And as a man, being emotionally vulnerable, it just decompresses that internal spring and allows us to not lash out as much. As a man, we've got an unfathomable amount of testosterone passing through our blood. I'm not sure on the exact figure, but it's a lot more than women, and that's why naturally we can become very aggressive as men. But when you've got the tools to actually navigate your challenges, okay, the chance of you lashing out is a lot lower. And I'm not saying everyone in prison was the result of anger, but I'm going to say a lot of it is a result of pain. So 5 ways to increase our well-being, and I'm going to just elaborate on this now. Socializing. Such a huge importance in our life is to socialize. As I said previously, we often don't think that we're going through something the same as other people. We feel like our challenges are very unique, but also just getting out and talking to people, it helps us understand sometimes that other people are going through other things as well, but also it's just really important just to connect. So socializing plays a crucial role in our overall well-being. Engaging with others helps us build meaningful relationships, which provide emotional support, reduce feelings of loneliness, and promote a sense of belonging. Social interactions can boost our mood, improve mental health, and even enhance cognitive functioning. Additionally, socializing encourages the development of communication skills and resilience, helping us navigate life's challenges more effectively. Overall, maintaining healthy social connections is vital for fostering happiness, reducing stress, and promoting of a balanced, fulfilling life. It's very, very important. And if you can't get out of your house, you can still socialize online. Even doing things like this, okay, is a form of socializing. You can join an online group. You can try and catch up for a video talk with your friends. And it's all about tuning in as well to how you're feeling. And this is how mindfulness played such a big part in my journey as well. It's becoming a lot more sensitive to the shifts in your own inner dialogue and own inner emotions. Like, how are you actually feeling? Do you need to reach out and speak to someone? Well, just get on the phone and speak to someone, okay? I sometimes get calls at very random times of the day. A lot more now that I'm working in this line of field. All of my friends are like, oh, I've got a problem, I know, I'll call Harry, but it's okay. Okay, sometimes I wake up at midnight on a Wednesday and my friend in New Zealand's giving me a call, and I'm always there. Okay, so there's likely 1 or 2 people that that will be there too. But even if not, there's plenty of spaces like this, this amazing platform that the Lyme disease charity in the UK has done for you guys. It's incredible, and they're offering this support for you as well. Fitness or group fitness classes. Now, I understand that a lot of you might not be able to do this, but you can do what you can, okay? And this is why I like Qigong, because Qigong can be done sitting in a chair. And if you don't know what Qigong is, you're welcome to look it up online. It's QI space GONG, Qigong. And it really helped me in my stage of life when I couldn't do much with my bad wrists. And if you can't get out of bed or you're not very flexible, you can actually do it in the bed. But if you can, the group fitness is a really good one because you also get that social interaction. So fitness and group fitness play a vital role in enhancing our overall well-being. Engaging in regular physical activity helps improve cardiovascular health, strengthens muscles, boosts immune function, and maintain a healthy weight. It also has significant mental health benefits, such as reducing stress, anxiety, and depression, while increasing feelings of happiness and self-esteem. Group fitness adds an extra dimension by fostering social connections, motivation, and accountability. Exercising with others can make workouts more enjoyable, encouraging consistency and persistence. The sense of community and support in group settings can also boost motivation and create positive environments for achieving healthy goals. So if you can get out the house, try and get out the house. Try and join a group fitness class, try and connect with other people. But if you can't, you can also do it from home as well. Meditation. Meditation is probably one of the biggest catalysts of my change and in my life. And I started meditating when I was about 21. Before I actually left England. I left England at 24. So I'd already been meditating for a few years. But when I went and lived in Asia, spent a lot of time with these people, it was really quite profound. And meditation, I mean, it's quite a common word now that's slung around, and a lot of people kind of see it as a fad for the hippies or a hobby for a monk these days, but it's actually quite profound. And there's so many different types of meditation. There's a guided meditation, silent meditation. Okay, you meditate on the tip of your nose and have a completely different experience to it if you meditate into the belly. Okay, so what I learned from the Wat Paradhammakaya was the middle way meditation, which was to meditate about 2 inches or 2 fingers width above the belly button, and there's a soft point there that you can push with your finger. And their philosophy is that's the middle of your energetic being. So the energetic being kind of extends just a little bit above the crown of the head, and they believe that if you focus on that point 2 fingers width above the center of your being, it allows you to enter the center of the mind, okay, which is the stillest point of the mind. Now, when I traveled around the world for 10 years, spending time in Asia and all of these different incredible places with incredible cultures, I understood that there is literally thousands of different techniques in meditation. And if I was to learn them all, I'd likely be here for about 10 lifetimes. And a lot of people think meditation is just to sit there, watch your breath. My advice, if you want to get into meditation, is to explore the market, find one that resonates with you. Just try them all out. A little guided one over here, silent one over here, go to a gong bath. Try them all out and you'll find one that really works for you. It might just be silent, focusing on the nose, it might be focusing on the belly, it might be with music in, without music in, sounds of birds. Then stick with that. Okay, the way it's explained to me is if you can imagine a pebble with a water droplet falling on the top of the pebble. If you keep that water droplet in the same angle, the water droplet penetrates the core of the pebble much quicker, and that's the core of your being, okay, and that's the progress you make from meditation. If you keep splashing water on the pebble from different angles, you'll be there for a whole lifetime. So that's something else that you get from meditation is understanding who you truly are at the depth of your being, which then evokes more meaning in life, okay, because you can only really meet other people at the depth that you've met yourself. So as you're going on this inner journey in meditation, you're understanding who you are. It also brings different levels of peace to your life as well. So it's up to you what you want to do with your journey in meditation. Okay, if you just want to reach deeper states of peace, if you want to go on a bit of a self-improvement journey or self-discoverment journey, it's all there for it. Meditation holds significant importance for both mental and physical well-being. It helps reduce stress, enhance concentration, improve emotional health, and promote a sense of inner peace. Regular meditation can lower blood pressure, boost the immune system, and foster better sleep. Additionally, it encourages self-awareness and mindfulness, leading to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Overall, meditation is a valuable practice for maintaining overall health and cultivating a calm, focused mind. And we're going to do some today, actually, at the end. I'm going to teach you the middle way meditation that I learned from the What Pro Dhammakaya. And it's a very simple one, so don't worry. Being creative. This is another really, really powerful one. Creativity plays a vital role on promoting wellness by fostering emotional, mental, and even physical health. Engaging in creative activities such as art, music, writing, or dance can help reduce stress, improve mood, and enhance self-expression. It encourages mindfulness and allows individuals to process emotions constructively, leading to increased resilience and a sense of accomplishment. Furthermore, creativity can strengthen social connections when shared with others, contributing to a supportive community and overall well-being. In essence, nurturing creativity is a powerful tool for achieving a balanced and healthy life. Now, this is also can connect to you being social as well. If some of you can get out the house, maybe you could go to a pottery class. Maybe some of you can go to like a silk painting class. Maybe you could go to a group meditation class, a group writing class. And therefore you're getting your social connections in with it, and you hit two birds with one stone. And that's something that's been quite powerful for me to do in the past as well. You know, I need to get out the house, I want to go for a walk, I can join a local fitness group, or I feel like I need to be creative but I don't have the motivation. I remember when I was about 27 years old, I joined a pottery class, and it was amazing. And I was living in Queenstown in New Zealand, and me and my friend were really bored and kicking our heels and didn't have the motivation to be creative. And I saw this sign outside this shop saying pottery class, and it was me and my friend and all of these 70-year-old women, and it's great, and I absolutely loved it. And we continued going for a couple of months. Actually, it was really good. So you can join a pottery class or a silk painting class or anything you can, but that being creative is really great. Even just journaling, waking up every day just journaling, that's still being creative writing. Something that really helped me as well when I was going through all my challenges is I started writing poems about what I was learning through my pain. Okay, I was philosophizing. I'm quite a philosophical guy. I was writing these deeply philosophical poems about what I'd learned through my challenges and my pain. Okay, and that was quite beautiful as well. So creativity in all forms. If you can play an instrument, play an instrument. If you can't really get up and move too much, there's still online stuff that you can do as well. Find a way that works for you. Okay, so next, deep conversation, being emotionally vulnerable. Being emotionally vulnerable is a crucial aspect of overall wellness. It involves opening up about your feelings, fears, and struggles, which fosters deeper connections, self-awareness, and emotional resilience. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you create space for genuine relationships, reduce feelings of isolation, and promote mental health. Vulnerability also encourages self-acceptance and personal growth, helping you process emotions healthily and build coping skills. Ultimately, embracing emotional vulnerability enhances your well-being by fostering authenticity, trust, and emotional balance. Now, just going back to what I brought up recently about the men's health, it's a big part of that. You know, men in particular are brought up in a world where we're told you can't cry, you can't show your emotions, you got to be brave, man up, right? These are things that you hear a lot being a man. So, and I know that some of you aren't men, But if you do have men in your lives, maybe you can start understanding why they are the way they are. One of the best things I learned how to do was learning how to cry again in my 30s, right? And this is what I do men's wellness workshops now. And I don't think I'd cried up until that point since I was about 12 years old, right? So it's like nearly 20 years without shedding a tear, right? And all of that emotional trauma that I've been through in those years was just compressed inside of me. And it's partly why I ended up very sick, actually. And, had stress-related illnesses, and it was part of why my wrists broke down and my different organs had problems with them, and I went blind in one eye. And it was all related to actually chronic stress and repression and denial of emotions. Okay, and what happens is your nervous system, it's kind of like a spring. You go out into the world, maybe somebody annoys you, it compresses a little bit. And then you go to work, somebody annoys you a bit more, it compresses a bit more. Somebody hurts you or you experience trauma, it compresses a bit more. If you don't have the tools to decompress that spring, it goes until it can't compress anymore, and it boing, just explodes. That's what we call mental and emotional nervous breakdown. Okay, that's what happened to me eventually. It happens to a lot of men. That's why 80% of suicides are men, right? I would likely say it's a big contributor to that. If you do have men in your lives, you can start allowing a space for them to be emotionally vulnerable, but also for you as well. Okay, so you make sure you understand to go and have deep conversations with your friends as well about how you're feeling. And that's why these deep connections and deep talks and deep conversations are so important. And now, because I hold these men's wellness workshops, and all of my friends that knew me before have seen this journey, you'd be very surprised at who starts opening up to you, actually. And now I've got all of these people around the world that I know opening up to me, saying, this is going on in my life, it's very challenging. And I've kind of built this little bit of a community now for people to feel safe to express their emotions. So catching up with people, that one friend that you can hang out with and go really deep into conversation with, it can help you as well. If you're dealing with a situation that maybe you think no one else has been through, this situation in Lyme disease, maybe you're going to speak to someone like me and I'll turn around and say, oh my God, I've been through something very similar. Okay, or maybe your friend might have been through something similar, or maybe they can actually give you an answer to a question that you've been looking for a long time. And that's something that can happen as well. You can be speaking to someone very deeply about something, and suddenly they say something, and that one little thing can just, going back to the shift of perspective, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So that's the end of the slides and the workshop. And what we're going to do now is a short 10-minute meditation. Try, if you can, to prop up your phone or your laptop in a place where you don't have to hold on to it, and try and sit upright, either up against your sofa, or if you do want to lay down, you can lay down. And we're just going to do this guided meditation. Now, the reason sitting upright is so important for meditation is because when we start falling asleep, for example, our mind becomes less aware and we just drift off to sleep. When we're sitting in the wrong position, the mind's too active and therefore it doesn't relax. When we're in the right position, the mind is allowing itself just to kind of find a deeper state of peace. So if you are sitting in a position where you're comfortable, you can just close your eyes. And just starting off, you can just focus on the breath falling in through the nose, just effortlessly watching the breath falling in through the nose, into the lungs and falling back out again. There's nothing to rush, nothing to force. And if there's any noises going on around you, it's okay. Just imagine they're like clouds drifting off in the sky. No need to label them. And just to start off with, just bring your awareness to the crown of the head, which is the top of your head. And just scan the crown of the head with the mind, just softening the crown of the head with the mind. And bringing your awareness now down across the forehead, scanning the forehead with the awareness of the mind, releasing any tension through the forehead. Moving through the eyebrows, the corners of the eyes. Just relax and release all tension through the corners of the eyes. Working your way down through the cheeks and the nose, softening the cheeks and nose with the mind. And into the jaw and the mouth, just release any tension in the jaw and the mouth. And there's nothing to rush, nothing to force, there's no finish line to get to. You're just simply observing the breath. And now just bring your awareness down the sides of the neck, just softening the sides of the neck into the shoulders. Just relax and release all tension through the neck and shoulders. Slowly working your way down through the top of the arms, the biceps and triceps. Just relax and release all tension through the top of the arms. Slowly working your way down through the elbows, into the forearms. Relax and release the forearms into the wrists, into the thumbs and fingers and hands. You just relax and release any tension in those parts of the body. Now just gradually bring your awareness to the heart and the chest, allowing yourselves to unclench the heart, softening the heart with the mind, softening the chest with the mind. Slowly bring the awareness down into the belly, softening the lower abdomen with the mind. Into the hips and the top of the thighs, just softening the hips and the thighs with the mind. And gradually working your way down the legs and the knees, into the shins and calves. You just relax and release all tension in those parts of the body. Finally into the ankles and into the feet. You just relax and release your entire being. Now see if you can rest the mind's awareness in the belly. Just keeping the mind's awareness, resting it in the belly. Just being aware of the breath effortlessly falling through the nose, deeply into the belly. There's nothing to force, nothing to try and make happen. Just effortless breathing, effortless observation. And we just remain here in silence for a few moments. And if the mind does wander, you just bring the awareness back to the belly, back to the breath, falling effortlessly into the belly. And again, there's no finish line to rush to. The goal is just the experience itself. And now what I want you to do is just put a physical smile on your mouth.
And breathe that smile into the belly. You're sending the inner smile down into the belly. Cultivating inner peace into the belly. And just rest with that inner smile in the belly for a few moments. Again, nothing to force, nothing to rush, nothing to try and make happen. And now slowly just allow that inner smile to start expanding through the belly and just slowly making its way through your entire being. And you can just bring your awareness back to the body, slowly starting to wiggle the fingers and toes, and bringing your awareness back to the room. So this is a very, very, very simple practice of trying to find that inner smile within yourself and that inner sanctuary of peace within yourself. And usually when we do this meditation with the monks, it would be for about half an hour. We'd continuously put ourselves back to that peace within ourselves. And the way they explained it to me was, if you can find peace within yourself, then you can locate how to get there much easier the more you find it. It's kind of like an inner roadmap to your own inner peace. And then it starts expanding, and you can stay there throughout the part of the day, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And then you play this game, which is nothing's more important than my peace. So you can go out, interact with the world. If anything takes you out of that peace, you just remind yourself nothing's more important than my peace. And you just smile back into the belly, breathe that inner smile back. And then gradually over the course of your life, you can stay there for prolonged amounts of time. So thank you so much for everyone joining me for this workshop and the short meditation. And I hope you all enjoyed it and you can walk away with a new understanding of how to tackle your challenging situations or implement it into your life. What I've shared, and I know it was quite information heavy, so don't worry if you need to watch it again or you've only took part of it in. But I really appreciate you all joining me here today, and I really appreciate the team from Lyme Disease choosing me for a workshop as well. I'm very grateful for that, so thank you so much.